Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
Hello, Dr. Hui Zhang. This is Tyler Machado, and this is my Uber presentation. So, I'm sorry for the camera angle, and I hope you can hear me. So Uber was created by Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp, and they got the idea in 2008. It was a snowy night, and they were trying to hail a cab, but were having a lot of trouble. So they wanted a service where all you had to do was press a button. And from that, Uber is active in 58 countries around the world. The countries include France, India, and Africa. Uber was worth $60 billion in 2016. Their mission is to bring transportation for everyone, everywhere. Uber wishes to make driving safer using self-driving cars and reduce traffic in cities. Uber has faced scandals such as the GodView scandal, but it has also gotten through a crisis successfully in 2015 in New York City. SWOT analysis. Uber's strengths include they drive cars around the world with an easy-to-use app. A weakness is, frankly, their crisis history. Their reputation is tarnished. They've suffered many crisis situations. And Uber's around the world and can attract people once their self-driving cars work well. That'll be interest to a lot of people. And the threat is their rival Lyft and the handling of crisis situations. In the situation analysis, on December 14, 2016, Uber launched self-driving cars without applying for a permit in San Francisco, California. The car subsequently went through red lights and worried bikers. Stakeholders included the government. The government had the power to pull the permit and were angry about the safety. This is illustrated by San Francisco Mayor, quote, "I have always been a staunch supporter of innovation in autonomous vehicle development and tests, but only under conditions that put human, bicyclist, and pedestrian safety first." Uber drivers, they're the backbone of Uber, and if Uber wants to stay in business, they need their drivers who do most of the job, and the drivers are worried about being pushed aside. For example, Travis Kalanick, an Uber driver, had this to say: "Uber itself is a very unethical company. If you launch technology like this on the scale of a city, then you need to go through proper channels. That's how people are protected." The public use Uber. They are their source of income, and they're not happy about the crisis. This is illustrated by a commenter on The Guardian. "The Uber taxi company is very sly. First, they put small businesses out of business. Then they put all the drivers out of work. It's amazing how powerful $50 billion can make a company. And it's amazing how much damage they can do to society." Advocacy groups. Advocacy groups hold a lot of sway. Consumer Watchdog, an organization that looks out for American interests, was unhappy. John M. Simpson, the Privacy Project director, had this to say, quote, "How many people are they going to kill before they understand not doing the right before they understand they're not doing the right thing? If you're going to use public highways as your own private laboratory, you've got an obligation to follow the rules." The campaign objectives. Basically, the campaign objectives amounted to trying to deflect responsibility from themselves for the crisis and when they were forced to pull out, trying to assure stakeholders. And communication channels consisted of statements to the Guardian, an Uber spokesperson. And communication strategies and tactics. Uber deflects blame. They thought with the government hours after their cars were pulled off the road. They blamed human error for the incidents. A spokesperson stated that the cars caught out were not in the program, nor did they have any customers. The spokesperson said to The Guardian, quote, "These incidents were due to human error. This is why we believe so much in making the roads safer by building self-driving Ubers." Uber further stated the cars needed monitoring in bad weather. In accordance with this tactic, the drivers involved in the crisis were suspended. And Uber also went further. They tried to claim that the cars were not fully autonomous, so did not need permits. It was only when Uber was forced to pull out that they tried to reassure the public. We are now looking at where we can redeploy these cars, but remain 100% committed to California, and will be redoubling our efforts to develop workable statewide rules. And the theory I used was a situational crisis communication theory. And the theory seeks to understand, explain, and provide prescriptive actions which would assist crisis communications. The core elements of the theory are the crisis response strategy, and the system of matching the crisis with a response strategy. There are three crisis types: victim, accidental, and intentional. The California crisis that Uber was involved in was intentional, meaning it could have been prevented. Uber used a scapegoat strategy, which is a subcategory of the SCCT denial strategy. Uber used the scapegoat strategy and did not take past crisis situations into account using crisis history outlined in SCCT. Timeline. On December 14, 2016,